So today I'm teaching y'all how to do an ombre shadowing. Let's lay down our transition shade first. I'm going to be using soft rainbow colors, so we're going to keep the crease here pretty warm. If your transition comes up a little bit too high, grab your powder foundation in your shade, grab it just on the side of the brush, and just pack that on right there. It's little tips like this that make a big difference. So we're gonna need a white eyeshadow base, and this is gonna look so much more difficult than what it is, only because when you see this white eyeshadow base, it looks very complicated. It's so easy. And if you hear goblin noises, that's Jean. I need to do a Jean reveal. Good, maybe, Lord, maybe I don't. Also want to remind you, this doesn't need to be perfect. Once I start to press shadow on, it's going to kind of smooth all that. And I'm making the wing very large because it's kind of the showpiece. Make sure that when you use a tacky base like this, you smooth it out. Let's start with pink on an E27. Pink's going to go here. Press that on. I'm using the side of the brush to press. Orange. And that tacky base just grabs it. Pick up some more of the orange. Let's grab this neon green / yellow. Maybe more yellow once it's on top of the white. And if y'all say one negative thing about Sheila, I will cry, and so will Sheila. Sheila has seen, I don't even know how many Halloweens, so Sheila's very stained. Now we're going into the green. This is so much fun. Just make sure you're really pressing it into that base. I know I might sound repetitive, but that's how we get the pigment, and that's how it won't crease. Now blue. Ooh, blue's my favorite. And last but not least, purple. Goblin, we don't want to hear these noises. I'm actually going to add a little bit more of the blue on top of the purple to make it a deeper purple. Now we need micellar water on our sharp C30. Now we're going to clean up underneath here. And since I don't have anything on my lid, I'm going to clean up on top as well. So I need as much control as possible, so I'm doing gel liner. And I just want to do a thin wing just at the base of my lashes here. You have the most control with gel liner and a bent liner brush like this. Now white base can be tricky because it'll get into your lashes. I just put my mascara on, and before it dries, I'm just going to move that mascara around a little bit and cover up any white base that might be peeking through. So I have quite a few lash tutorials, but I want to give you a quick tip. Always grab from the center and place from the center. I was at Sephora and I saw they had the new Gucci foundation. This is the new formula. I feel like the match is pretty good. Might be just a smidge too light. It's always best to smooth your foundation out a little bit more. That way when you go to apply it with your brush or even your sponge, it's already evened out. The more even your foundation is, the longer it's going to wear and the better it's going to wear. Also, the reason I'm still going with this and not correcting it is because look how it's kind of turning into my shade as it dries down. Always let your foundation dry down. I would say 10 minutes before you pick your shade. I'm going to take a fluffier brush, smaller brush around my brows. I want a little bit more control, and I want less coverage. The fluffier the brush, the less coverage you're going to get. Take that foundation through here and a little across here. Now that matches perfect. I will say it's very scented. I like the scent, but it's very scented. I also picked this up, the Urban Decay Concealer. I haven't tried this yet. I'm excited. I got the shade 20 Cool Pink, but this still feels a little bit yellowy warm for me. It's hard to find that pink shade, y'all. Feels like it dries pretty quickly, so we might need to talk skin prep with this one. So we're using this today. I believe this is the new shade from Tower 28. And I want you to notice I have no powder on my face at the moment. And also notice that I'm pressing this. Ooh, that's very pretty. We don't want to swipe. That's going to disturb that foundation and the concealer underneath. my favorite ways to apply cream bronzer is kind of messy, actually. Then we're gonna grab our foundation brush again and kind of melt it all together. It always just looks so nice and blended this way. So don't be afraid to get a little feral with the cream bronzer, as long as there's no powder on your face. So we're trying the pink one today. I find this is still the best technique. Now I'm actually going to apply it towards the front of the face today. And I'm gonna place it with this brush. Now we're gonna grab our C41 and we'll work it in. Little across the nose. I didn't add any more, just whatever's on the brush. I'm gonna add a little bit here. That's where the sun naturally hits. If you learn anything from me, even out the powder on your puff, and right before you go in with powder, smooth your concealer. And then look, go, 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 go. It makes such a difference. Use what's left in the puff to lightly set the outer perimeter. This Mob Beauty bronzer, M36 is the shade. It has a hold on me. It just has the perfect amount of red. I'm gonna layer that on top of the other bronzer. I'll do an in-depth about bronzer transitioning next. If you have sensitive eyes, lightly warm up your gel liner just a little bit, and it's gonna glide on so much easier. I'm just painting things on my face at this point. This is also Moira Cosmetics. We'll just do that about face shadow under here. Buff that out a little bit. I'm excited to try this. I picked this up yesterday as well. We're gonna throw this on, and before it sets, I'm gonna go ahead and grab a lip liner, which I have right here. This one's from Moira Cosmetics. And I'm grabbing that lipstick and blending as I go. Now let's put the gloss on top. Ooh, it's the gloss for me. All right, it needed this on my inner corner. Look at this. Wow. Makeup is so much fun. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and if you watched all of it, thanks for sticking with me till the end. I'm gonna teach you something, and I'm gonna teach you about bronzer transitions. Now, we're very familiar with transitioning our eyeshadow. We've heard that a million times. But are you transitioning your bronzer? Because it makes such a difference, kind of in the way that transitioning eyeshadow does. It just adds so much more dimension. So I'm going to start with the cream bronzer, and I do not have any powder on my face whatsoever. For this step, it's best to not have any powder, and we're just going to start to build this up. And we actually don't want this to be super pigmented. So if you're going, good. We don't want this first transition to be dark. This is what the powder bronzer we're going to use later, this is what this is going to transition into. I'm telling y'all, when I started doing this, I really started to like my makeup even more. So let's warm up the nose. Oh, and while I have you here, bronzer isn't technically contouring on most skin tones, but what bronzer can do is it can still shape the face. Also, here's another tip. Bronzer can actually go on the higher points of the face. So if bronzer kind of creeps over this way, that's okay. Think about the sun hitting us. It's going to hit here on the higher point of my cheekbone. It's going to hit here. I'm not going to contour today, but the light's hitting so nicely that you can see. Do you see how this is really gray and looks like a shadow? That would be my perfect contour color. It wouldn't be this warm bronze. But do remember that bronzer can definitely add shape to the face. Now, if you want to, we can go back over. This is the foundation brush I used. Just kind of melt it back in. I'm not going directly over it, but I am going to go around the edges. Make sure it's nice and seamless. Let me give you another tip because I love you. I have my puff queued up. What I'm doing right here is I'm smoothing this out and immediately going in. That's how quickly it can crease. And then we're just setting creases. And then we're just sitting here staring at a creased up eye. Now with what's left on the puff, I'm going to set the rest of my face. And you'll see that I'm going kind of like this, and then there's a method there, but all I'm doing is ensuring that I've set every place here on my face instead of just going, I think the powder I just tried is shiny. Don't love that. But I digress. Moving on. No, it's too shiny. I'm still bitter. Let's fix it. I'm going to show you how I would fix it. Let's take our powder foundation. This is a matte powder foundation, and that should help tone that down. You can fix anything. Remember that. Love this. This is my favorite bronzer now, even more than the Gucci. I love it. So what we're going to do now is we're going to press that. It's really important you see how I'm holding this. See how this side is pointed towards my ear? You're going to get the most out of that, holding it that way. Then we're going to go right on top. And you probably already have two bronzers. All you need is one that's lighter and then one that's a little bit darker, but it is best for them to kind of be in the same undertone family. Both of these were pretty red. Now look at how smooth that looks. Absolutely no patchiness, just perfectly transitioned bronzer. It gets me going every time. And then I like to place a little bronzer right through here. And that's not really for shaping, contouring. That's really for keeping this flow going. See how my chest is always a little bit more red? That kind of keeps that going and it doesn't look like it just stops there. Now, if I was going to a fancy event or going somewhere, I would definitely bring foundation all the way down. But this is a good way to kind of trick the eye without having to just cover yourself in foundation from head to toe. Now let's apply some blush. I like to apply the blush. Ooh, that's pretty. Right on top. Don't be afraid to get it into the bronzer. I feel when I first started, I thought that everything had to have a place, but I really like to just melt and mesh everything together. So don't be afraid to just get this right on top of kind of that first transition of the bronzer. It's my first time holding a blush brush, apparently. Did you all see that? Whew, that's pretty. And then if it gets too wild, I like it wild. Okay, I'm into wild. Let's just grab our powder puff. And remember, this has that powder foundation on it. Look how smooth and pretty that is now. How pretty is this? Also, it was closest to me. It's called Pink Frosting from Gerard Cosmetics. I'm just going to throw this on. This is also Gerard Cosmetics Sugar and Spice Lip Liner. Add a little bit of definition. And there you have it. Bronzitioning. Let's name it bronzitioning. If you made it to the end, thank you for watching. And if you like actual makeup tutorials and makeup education, hit follow.